hour is Janis Neufeld. Janis is a dynamic, motivating leader and award-winning entrepreneur and CEO of Inclusive Design, or Inclusive by Design. She is a member of an international team of academic scholars leading the research and development of physical literacy enriched environmental design in conjunction with the universal design in outdoor environments. Welcome, Janis.
Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. Again, my name is Janis Neufeld, and my pronouns are she, her. I am speaking to you today from the Sequoia National Heritage Site on the traditional territory of the Dene-Za people, managed by Doig River, Prophet River, and West Moberly First Nations within Treaty 8. I am a tanned white woman with glasses and long, dirty blonde hair. Today, I will be addressing the question, what does access and inclusion on trails look like? The intro image is a 3-wheel hand cycle and a 2-wheeled mountain bike on an inclusive forest trail with the Inclusive by Design logo at the top. Outdoor recreation is a key component of health and wellness, as well as tourism, and its importance has increased significantly due to the pandemic. Trails and their many variations are vital to outdoor access and are relatively easy to design in ways that promote both inclusion and levels of challenge. Next slide, please. Some key terms I'll be using today are physical literacy, enriched environmental design, and universal design. Physical literacy enriched environmental design, which provides an excellent framework for inclusion in outdoor design. Just like English literacy has components that lead to success and growth, like letters, words, spelling, and pronunciation, the components of physical literacy, which lead to success and growth, are shown in the diagram on this slide. Competence, confidence, and motivation to active participation create a virtuous cycle. This is a lifelong process which doesn't stop or shouldn't stop when a traumatic injury or disability occurs. What is important to note is that regardless of a person's ability or disability, age, culture, or gender, everyone is at varying stages in developing their physical literacy and must be met at the stage they are at. This helps increase motivation and active participation, which leads to social, mental, and physical well-being for everyone. Next slide. Another framework, which many of you may be more familiar with, is universal design, which is the design and composition of an environment so that it can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by all people, regardless of their age, size, ability, or disability. Everyone uses the same routes. No one is singled out by a special accommodation. Next slide, please. What about universal versus accessible trails? Take these two examples. The picture on the left shows a universal trail being used by individuals in a wheelchair. The picture on the right is a mountain bike trail used by an adapted mountain bike rider. Both are accessible, but only the one on the left is built to universal design specifications. The trail on the right has removed barriers by increasing trail width, removing obstacles, and reducing side slope to ensure that an adapted mountain bike can use the trail. This trail is now accessible to an adapted mountain bike rider, but is not universally designed. Next slide, please. Inclusion is more complex than universal design or accessibility and depends on the principles being applied. So which of these trails is inclusive? On the left is a gnarly mountain bike trail ridden by an advanced adaptive mountain bike rider. On the right is a family riding 2-wheeled bikes on a flat, wide rail trail next to a beautiful lake. From a universal design standpoint, the trail on the right is inclusive. Everyone can enjoy it. From a physical literacy standpoint, both are inclusive and both are exclusionary. For the hardcore adaptive mountain bike rider, the rail trail is simply not inviting. Inclusion on trails in terms of physical literacy, motivation, confidence, and competence requires a level of challenge for all levels of ability and a type of challenge for all interests. Next slide. Here's another example. On the right is a rail grade or accessible trail with 2 adapted mountain bike riders attempting a 200-kilometer trek from Revelstoke to Nelson. This trail is offering the challenge of endurance motivated by their goal of completing the distance. On the left is Lily. Lily's a 3-year-old little ripper on her 2-wheeler. So will the trail on the right provide an adequate level of challenge and interest for Lily? Or would she be bored by the unvarying terrain or discouraged by the distance she is expected to ride? And most likely mom or dad will have to pick up her bike and carry it the rest of the way. So the trail on the right offers inclusion for traveling bike tourers, but not for a 3-year-old biker looking for a roller coaster ride. Next slide. This slide has 2 images. On the left, a section of trail map from the local master planning map giving detailed trail information. Then on the right, a small child on a run bike, an adult on a 2-wheeled bike, a 3-wheeled hand cycle, and a senior on a 2-wheeled bike, all riding on a boardwalk, which is the section of trail highlighted on the map to the left. A principle common to both universal design and physical literacy enriched environmental design is integration, not segregation. Increasing access and inclusion on our trails needs to be done through integrating accessibility into an existing network to allow for meaningful intersection, interaction, encouraging empathy, relatedness, and normalization of different abilities, interests, cultures, ages, and genders. So how do we do this? Eliminate barriers to participation. Construct positive challenges for a variety of abilities, including, or maybe especially, those requiring accessibility. Integrate opportunities for intersection rather than creating a segregated system or trail. Next slide. So where to start? How do I know whether to make a trail or how do I make a trail or trail network more inclusive and accessible? How do I know if the trail should be universally designed or accessible, designed with physical literacy in mind? Next slide. When deciding which principles to follow, know the purpose. On the left of this slide, a person in a wheelchair with someone standing behind them on a wooden platform overlooking a river in the forest. And right, a universally designed wooden outhouse and picnic table separated from a parking lot by large rocks. Access routes. Access routes to viewpoints, such as at different specific features, must be universally designed to provide maximum access. But trails are not black and white. So whereas trail experiences, where they're not necessarily leading to a specific viewpoint, but the purpose of the trail is the trail experience itself, should be designed according to the principles of physical literacy to facilitate maximum interest for varying levels of ability, allowing opportunity for all to participate and to be motivated. Consider trail length, distance from amenities, and staging area when deciding the challenge level of the trail. Next slide. Examples of inclusion. 2 images here. Wooden washroom change room building before and after. In the before image on the left, it is accessed by 3 wooden stairs and a steep ramp. In the after image, a universally designed trail intersects with the floor and wooden posts of varying low heights, and a rock wall incorporating steps offer alternate approaches and different levels of challenge to those accessing the facilities. This is an example of universal design and physical literacy design amalgamated. Next slide. Lastly, what makes a trail beautiful? Inclusion based upon perception. The picture here shows a trail beside a stream through a forest in fall. Our team has taught me that beauty is way more than we might assume from a non-disabled perspective. For a team member who has hypersensitivities or is easily overwhelmed, the full sensory experience can make or break the moment. For a team member who has a visual impairment, the sound of moving water or the changing smells of the landscape are what make the trail beautiful. Next slide. The closing image is a close-up of the people from the opening image. A three-wheel hand cycle leading two-wheeled mountain bikes down an inclusive forest trail with the Inclusive by Design logo to the right. Thank you for your time and allowing me to share this physical literacy enriched environmental design way of looking at inclusion on trails. By applying these principles, we can have a framework for designing inclusive trails based on a level of challenge for all levels of ability and a type of challenge for all interests. Integrating participation and not segregating, allowing opportunities for intersection. In conclusion, to answer the question of what does accessibility look like on trails, access and inclusion is not black and white. It is a beautiful spectrum, as diverse as the many people who want to use them in their own ways, each according to their own ability and level of physical literacy. Thank you very much, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Janis. I thought that was a fabulous sentiment at the end. We do have a question that came in, and the question is, can you speak to the information people might need in order to decide if a trail is accessible to them and the challenges that they want? And where is the best place for parks to be sharing that information?
Well, absolutely at trailheads and in detail and at intersections. But the key here is signage and allowing people to make the decision themselves. This simple view of a trail being accessible or not accessible is just simply not true. There's varying levels depending on what mobility device may be used. For example, if a three-wheel hand cycle is being used, they can access a lot more trail than versus somebody who's using a off-road wheelchair. So the most important part here is having the information available at the trailhead and at intersections, saying what is the slope ahead, what is the side slope, what is the increase and decrease, what's the maximum and minimum width, is there any obstacles such as a bridge or a boardwalk that perhaps is too narrow. So really the focus here needs to be information so that individuals can make the decision based on their own level of challenge that they want to take on.
Absolutely. Thank you. I know along with information, I've heard that, visuals and photos and things like that are also very helpful on the websites and stuff.
Yes.
Technology has been amazing at giving people additional information in that way when it's available. Yes, most definitely. And of course, specifically to adapted mountain bike trails, as that sport continues to grow exponentially, we have specific trail guidelines, green, blue, black, double black, specifically to adapted mountain bike riders, so that they know, oh, this trail is actually meant for three-wheel hand cycles, and they'll know exactly what to expect if it's a green, blue, or black. And we're hoping to have that pretty much standardized across Canada so that someone can travel anywhere and know, okay, oh, that's a blue adapted mountain bike trail. I know what that's like. I can do that. That's amazing. I might ask you to expand on that later in the Slack, as that's not something that we've really come across as like a standardized system, like rating system yet in the research we've been doing. So that's fantastic if that's gaining some traction and getting used at the park locations.
Yes, it is. We about 2 years ago, we went through a very intense trail evaluation and tried all the different forms of mobility devices on all the different types of trails and came up with those standards. It was through the Kootenay Adaptive Sport Association, and that document is now has wide uptake around the world. So we'd be more than happy, of course, to share that, because that's our intent, is to have that standardized system for grading trails.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Janis, for your time today. We really appreciated having you here.
Thank you very much for having me.